There's no place on Earth quite like the North Shore of Lake Superior. The rugged shoreline and pounding waves draw visitors to the area all year long. And one popular destination is Sugarloaf Cove.
It strikes me as a place that's unique on the shore because usually when you come here there will be one or two other people. You're hardly ever alone, but there are never crowds. And so each person that I've met here or has been to the site has told me that they felt like it's their own private place. And that's the goal, I think, to keep it open for people to enjoy it and learn about it, but leave it as it is so that they can always enjoy it and so can everyone else.
Sugarloaf Point was declared a Scientific and Natural Area, or SNA, in 1995. SNAs date back to 1968, when the state established a system of public nature preserves to protect Minnesota's rarest and most significant natural features. A 7-acre portion of the Sugarloaf site has been designated as an SNA. One unique feature here is the 1-billion-year-old basalt lava flows.
We're on the point of Sugarloaf Cove, and we're looking at some of the basalt lava flows that flowed here probably 1 billion years ago into what would become Lake Superior. One of the things that makes this site so unique is when this lava flowed out, it flowed out into the open and cooled very quickly on the surface, making a thin crust, and then the lava would flow underneath it and kind of push it all together into these ridges or ropey surfaces you can see called pahoehoe lava. It's the same kind of lava that's being formed in Hawaii right now from volcanoes today, and that's where it gets its name. It's a Hawaiian name.
There hasn't been a lot of erosion, there hasn't been a lot of bending and distorting of the features over the eons, so that geologists can go there and get a good idea of how these lava flows occurred and look at the specific features associated with that type of a lava flow.
Scientific and natural areas are protected by the Department of Natural Resources, but they're still open to the public for observation, research, and teaching.
The site is unique because of the location out in the cove or in the Lake Superior. It's buffeted by wind, by waves, in the wintertime by ice flows. It's got some rare and unusual plants there, some mosses that are found nowhere else in Minnesota. But it's a unique SNA because it also contains several acres of land that was highly impacted by human development. This land was used by the Consolidated Paper Company from 1942 until about 1971. It was used for a landing site for their logging operations and a rafting site. So that they filled this land, which was a wetland, they filled it with gravel, and you can see that now it's mostly alder that's covering it. But all these acres were filled with piles of logs, 100 inches long, and went on for hundreds of yards. And then about 4 times a season, they were put into the bay, down a logging chute, splashed into the bay, filled up this whole bay, were held in place by booms, and then a tug towed them all inside the boom logs over to Ashland, Wisconsin, about 45 miles away. This went on for about 30 years, until 1972.
The 7 acres protected as an SNA are part of 34 acres owned by the state and maintained by the Sugarloaf Interpretive Center Association.
The Sugarloaf Interpretive Center Association has worked in conjunction with the DNR on several projects. One is to inventory the site, so we have an inventory of the plants, animals, geology, soils, lichens, etc. Another project is a wetland restoration. We found out by doing core samples that there was a wetland at this site, and so now the DNR, with funding from the EPA, is going to dig out some of the gravel fill that's been in here and try to restore it to the condition that it was in before it was filled. We found that it was not an open water wetland, that it was a wooded wetland, and that's the hope is to try restoring it to that same kind of situation so that we can learn from that and hopefully do that in other places as well.
This point has been called Sugarloaf since about 1916. It was so named because its shape resembles the old brown sugar loaves sold around the turn of the century. Sugarloaf Point is home to a population of upland white cedar, a type of forest found only in north-central and northeastern Minnesota. You'll also find many kinds of lichens and mosses. In fact, 3 species of mosses have been identified here that have never been before found in Minnesota. The future of Sugarloaf Cove is simple. The plan is to keep everything just as it is now.
The SNA will forever be preserved and open to the public for research, for nature observation, for education. The land adjacent to it is also open to the public, but we have nature trails on the land, and we will have a pavilion, little picnic area so that people can come and enjoy the lake, but still be able to get out of the weather and see the lake and have a picnic if it's raining or cold. Mostly we want it to be, I like to think of it as a private state park where everyone can come and enjoy it and look upon it as their own little undeveloped nook of the shore.